Good evening. I'm Father Kevin Long of St. Elias Antiochian Orthodox Church in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Today is Monday, March 23rd, 2020, and I'm going to continue with my series of reading the Lenten Bible readings of the day and have a short reflection following. So today's first reading is from the prophecy of Isaiah, chapter 14, 24 through 32. The Lord of hosts has sworn, as I have planned so it shall be, and as I have proposed shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains trample him under foot. And his yoke shall depart from them, and his burden from their shoulder. This is the purpose that is purposed concerning the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For the Lord of hosts has proposed, and who will annul it? His hand is stretched out, and who will turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died came this oracle. Rejoice not, O Philistia, all of you, that the rod which smote you is broken. For from the serpent's root will come forth an adder, and its fruit will be a flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor will feed, and the needy will lie down in safety. But I will kill your root with famine, and your remnant I will slay. Wail, O gate, cry, O city, melt in fear, O Philistia, all of you. For smoke comes out of the north, and there is no straggler in his ranks. What will one answer the messengers of the nation? The Lord has founded Zion, and in her the afflicted of his people find refuge. The second reading is from the book of Genesis, chapter 8, verses 21 through chapter 9, verse 7. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing odor, the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again destroy every living creature as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth. The fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every bird of the air, and upon everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. As I give you the green plants, I give you everything. Only you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. For your lifeblood I will surely require a reckoning. Of every beast I will require it, and of man. Of every man's brother I will require the life of man. Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image. And you, be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly on the earth, and multiply in it. And the third reading is from Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 19 through chapter 12, verse 6. He who is steadfast in righteousness will live, but he who pursues evil will die. Men of perverse mind are an abomination to the Lord, but those of blameless ways are his delight. Be assured, an evil man will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will be delivered. Like a gold ring in a swine's snout is a beautiful woman without discretion. The desire of the righteous ends only in good, the expectation of the wicked in wrath. One man gives freely, yet grows all the richer. Another withholds what he should give, and only suffers want. A liberal man will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered. The people curse him who holds back grain, but blessing is on the head of him who sells it. He who diligently seeks good seeks favor, but evil comes to him who searches for it. He who trusts in his riches will wither, but the righteous will flourish like a green leaf. He who troubles his household will inherit wind, and the fool will be the servant to the wise. The fruit of the righteous is the tree of life, but lawlessness takes away lives. If the righteous is requited on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner? Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. A good man obtains favor from the Lord, but a man of evil deceives, he condemns. A man is not established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous will never be moved. A good wife is the crown of her husband, but she who brings shame is like rottenness in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are just, the counsels of the wicked are treacherous. The words of the wicked lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright delivers men. For tonight's reflection, I would like to talk a little bit about one of the Old Testament readings that we've been doing at the beginning of Lent. The prophecy of Isaiah was written at a time when Israel was having a lot of difficulties. It had a number of corrupt rulers, it had a number of good rulers, but it always found itself in a position where it was more comfortable with its way of life and a little bit less aware of the suffering of the people around them. So if you look at the very beginning of the prophecy of Isaiah, you see that God is really angry with them. He's angry with them because they're ignoring the widow and the orphan. He's angry with them because they think that somehow just because they offer a sacrifice for something they did wrong, that was basically all that was necessary to make up for it, and they could go and do the wrong thing again over and over. And so the prophecy is a stark warning. It's a warning to the people of the land that if they don't change their ways, if they don't seek after the care of those around them, if they just think they can go ahead and be the sinners that they are and just toss a sacrifice and everything is good, they're going to suffer. And indeed, what ends up happening is they get overrun by the Assyrians. And the Assyrians force the majority of them into exile. It's a very painful thing. And even the ones that aren't in exile are under subjugation by a foreign power. And so it's a very different reality than we have now. We don't really in America have a concept of what it would mean to be under the influence of somebody else. So when we think about what we're going through right now and some of the tribulations that we are facing, it could be a lot worse, but at the same time, that doesn't diminish what we're going through. In both cases, we need to make sure that we have God steadfastly focused in our hearts, and we need to make sure that the things that we do are being done in a way that reflect our love for God and our love for our neighbor. The book of Proverbs that we've been reading all along during Lent also help provide a guide to get us the way towards wisdom, to help keep us away from the paths of error and bring us back into a more practical way of life that is based on truth and based on wisdom as opposed to based on selfish desire and chasing after illusions. And so when we take a look at these things, we can sort of see spiritually how they might have felt the same way that we do. I mean, imagine living in Israel at the time that they were going through what they were, and knowing that right across the border was this marauding host of people that were going to come and cause pain and inflict all sorts of fear and horror and ultimately change their way of life forever. Well, right now we sit in a position where we know this virus is real. We know it's hurting people in all sorts of different areas. We know it's coming increasingly closer. What can we do? Well, again, the most important thing that I would do is I'd echo the voice of the prophet Isaiah. And I would say, seek God's righteousness first. Trust in Him. Trust in Him as best as you can. Understand that the Old Testament is also full of a yearning to go back to the land of paradise, to the land of Adam and Eve before their indiscretion with the fruit, and see God clearly. Because when we do that, since God is peace, and when God is consolation, and so when we understand these things, then we search after them ourselves. So these readings, even though they seem kind of dark, and they're not very, they don't exactly bring consolation to one's heart, they can help serve as a reminder that the human drama really is summed up with these kinds of adventures and misadventures, and that threats have always been there, and God has always been there. And so when we again seek God first, and when we seek to live out his love for us by taking care of others, we are being seen as righteous, both in the eyes of the writers of the book of Proverbs and to the prophet Isaiah, and ultimately to the God who has given us this wisdom and this guidance to do the right thing at all times and in every place. May God continue to shower you with his consolation and a sense of his peace. God bless you. Have a good night. And God willing, we will meet again soon. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, one God.